Today, we are gonna be making one of my favorite foods I had growing up. When I had it growing up, it generally came in a box and had Kraft on the front of it, but we're gonna be making it from scratch with a cheese roux, noodles, and then topping it off with some breadcrumbs to add a little bit of crunch. Of course, I am talking about macaroni and cheese, God's gift to us mortals. If you do not like macaroni and cheese, there's a great possibility that you are actually a terrorist. So I'm sorry to break that to you if you clicked on this video and were like, I don't really like macaroni and cheese. You're probably part of Al Qaeda. To start things off today, we are going to be taking a pot and filling it mostly full of water. If you're unsure how much water, or if you want to be really specific, follow the cooking instructions on the side of the box of your noodles. But I'm just gonna fill it about 3/4 the way full. Once it is full of water, put it on the burner, start the burner, and we're going to salt heavily. This is our opportunity to add some flavor into the pasta. Now that the water is boiling, I'm going to add the noodles themselves to the pot. Stir gently, and then per the box, we're gonna cook it for 11 to 12 minutes. I'm gonna set it for 11 minutes. I'd rather cook it a little less since we're gonna be putting it in the oven and baking it. And make sure I am stirring periodically while it is cooking. So now that I have those noodles cooked and sitting aside, we are going to assemble our roux. Now, full warning, I make this recipe a lot and I never measure anything out. I usually eyeball everything. I'm gonna do my best to measure it out. I'm hoping I can get it as accurate as possible. That way you can replicate it at home. To start out, we are going to be using a stick of butter. We're gonna need some all-purpose flour. I'm gonna aim to start with 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. And then I have some heavy whipping cream. I have some 2% milk. I'll talk about those portions when I'm adding them. And then as far as our cheese today, I have extra sharp cheddar and Italian style cheese, which has a variety of different cheese like mozzarella, provolone, parmesan. This is gonna add stringiness and a little bit more diverse flavor than just the extra sharp cheddar, but this is really what we want to shine through on the mac and cheese. And then of course I have salt and pepper because every recipe needs salt and pepper. To start out, I'm going to be adding the stick of butter to medium heat and letting that melt down. Be sure to move it around while it's in the pot, melting down. That way it melts down evenly and you're not burning the butter. Once the butter is fully melted, we are going to add some of our flour. We're not gonna add it all at once. We're gonna wanna kind of whisk as we add it, see how much we really need to add. You're wanting to have the flour liquidy enough that it still moves around, but enough flour that it's not super running. This is gonna add that thickness to your mac and cheese that you're looking for. So I'm gonna add, I got just a little bit left. I'm gonna add the rest of that and see where we're sitting. It's looking pretty good. It's bubbling nicely. We're gonna want this to get golden brown. It's gonna add a lot of nice flavor to the mac and cheese. If you don't cook it down a little bit, it'll taste more floury than anything. So make sure you're just kind of keeping an eye on it, stirring it periodically because you don't want it to get too far down. Otherwise it'll burn and it'll just taste bitter in the mac and cheese. Make sure you're stirring it occasionally. You can already kind of see it starting to turn colors for us. All right, I'm gonna add a cup of heavy whipping cream. Once again, keep stirring. I'm gonna turn down my heat to low. See it really thicken up there? Now I'm gonna add 2 cups of milk. I might need to add more milk, but we'll see. I'm gonna add 1 more cup of milk here. While we're at this stage, let's add some salt and pepper. All right, we're gonna let that come to temp. Be sure to keep stirring periodically while this is heating up. You don't want anything to be sticking to the bottom and cooking on the bottom. Keep it stirring while that temp is rising. Once you are getting some heat off of it, like we are there, we're going to add a little bit of our cheddar. We're not gonna add it all at once. We wanna slowly incorporate it. That way it melts down, you don't get big chunks of cheese in your mac and cheese. You want it to be more of a fluid. This is where you're gonna see it start to thicken up a little bit more once you start adding the cheese. If you add it all at once, it's gonna just clump together and not actually break down or mix down. So just be patient with it. It's gonna be worth it in the end. All right, that's all melted down. So we're gonna add another handful of the cheese. Probably got about half the bag gone there. Remember to keep whisking, keep stirring it together. Starting to get that stringiness that we're looking for. Now is a good time for us to preheat our oven to 325. That way, once this roux is done, we can incorporate it with the macaroni and then get it into the oven. All right, to this mixture, we're gonna add a little bit more of the cheese here. Keep whisking. I probably got about 3 cups of the 4-cup bag in there, and I think I'm gonna be good with that because I wanna add a little bit of this yet. We're slowly getting there. Last thing, I'm gonna add about a half of this bag and incorporate. This is gonna bring that stringiness to this cheese, and I'm actually gonna get rid of this. Gonna get rid of this. As you can see, that stringiness is already there. I'm gonna bring out a mixing spoon here. Okay, so we have our noodles. I'm gonna just add those to my baking container there. We got a nice nest of noodles. So we're gonna take our spoon and break them down. And so once you have them flattened out in there, I'm gonna take our cheese mixture, pour it in. And now just incorporate the cheese mixture into the noodles. You want to stir, make sure everything's covered. No chunks of plain noodles, just get everything covered in there. If you'd like to, you honestly could stop there and just eat it like this. But I'm gonna do a finishing touch here, a couple finishing touches rather. Smooth out the top a little bit. Now with our Italian cheese that we have, put a little bit over top. Same with our cheddar. And then the final touch, we're gonna do some Italian breadcrumbs. You don't have to go too crazy with it, just enough over the top. That way you get some crunchiness in there. All right, then we're gonna stick this into the oven. Looks pretty good. We're gonna stick it in the oven. Keep an eye on it. I would say maybe 20 minutes. Really, the pasta's hot, the cheese sauce is hot. What we wanna do is just melt this down and get some browning on the top. So let's do 20 minutes and we'll keep an eye on it. So I've had it in the oven now for 15 minutes and then I finished it on broil for a few minutes until it's golden brown on top. Looks absolutely perfect. Really excited to dive in. I love making this macaroni and cheese. It's one of my favorites to make. Let's dish some up, see how it tastes. Nice and melty. So I know I make this a lot. But that might be the best stuff I've ever made of it. That Italian blend of cheese really brings it home, I think. It's not too cheddary, but it also has some nice hints of Parmesan and some provolone, that mozzarella, the stringiness. That's really good. Really good. I think you should make this. I'm gonna eat the rest of this now. And that is gonna do it for me today. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this episode. I know I greatly appreciate it. It means the world to me that you're here watching it. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that little bell button, that'll give you notifications anytime I upload another video. Also, you can follow me on any of my social medias, The Green Bay Guy on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or you can find me on Snapchat at The GB Guy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say that enough. You guys are truly the best. Until next time, go Pack Go.